नमस्कार। सभी का स्वागत है इन दिस टैक्स की ज्ञान गंगा सीरीज वेयर वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस in new income tax act 2025. We are going this live sessions in all 9 days, and we have different faculties, expert faculties in this income tax area. So once again welcome to all participants from different part of the country. So once again welcome to each one of you. We have shared the agenda for all 9 days, all the faculties we have shared. Definitely, it is going to be a good learning series, and we are going to start with our elder brother CA Prakash Sinha ji. Prakash ji, welcome to you in this first day of the series where more than 150 participants are there, and we have conveyed that this is going to be live only. So definitely you are going to be a good advantage of this interaction. You can post your query that has to be taken care at the end in the between whenever the faculty will require. Our co-moderator, co-coordinator Sachin Sinha ji is there. Second difficulty. Sachin ji, welcome to you once again.
Thank you, sir.
You have designed this wonderfully. That important point is going to be covered along with the rules and new forms. So wherever required, there are some change. Definitely we will discuss. सभी पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि अपना म्यूट रखें सो दैट वी कैन डिस्कस प्रॉपरली। अगर आपको कहीं जरूरत पड़ती है कोई क्वेरी की, कोई कन्वे की, कोई मैसेज कन्वे की, यू कैन पोस्ट मी। वी आर अवेलेबल फुल टाइम हियर। As we all know, CASA is regularly organizing this type of activities, this type of series, learning series on different topics. This is another going to be an important series because 1 अप्रैल से कहीं ना कहीं इनकम टैक्स में जो चेंजेस हैं, फॉर्म्स रिक्वायर्ड है, उसमें कुछ चेंजेस आएंगे, एप्लीकेबल होंगे, उन सभी को एक बार डिस्कस करेंगे टाइम टू टाइम टॉपिक बेसिस पे हमने जो डिजाइन करी है। सो वेलकम वंस अगेन। I request Sachin ji to say opening remarks about this series. Thereafter, we will start technical session.
Good evening to all. Thank you so much, Sumit ji, and today's speaker, respected Prakash Sinha ji, for being with us today, and respected dignitaries, participants. So, when we started the discussion on this topic around 1 month back, it was our idea to discuss in detail each and every important changes which has come through Income Tax Act 2025. And in the meanwhile, the budget was also on the way. So we thought, okay, the budget should conclude. Then we will discuss what are the changes has been modified during with this budget. And interestingly, some sections in the Income Tax Act 2025 has even been are removed even through this budget. So I can say that the section has not even come into existence, and before this they were deleted or omitted. So, as far as concerned to this Income Tax Act 2025, I'd like to take only 2 minutes to say that although the government is saying every time that this is old wine in the new bottle, so there is no major provisional changes or substantive changes are there. Only the structural changes has been done. So we can say that okay, codification has been done. Otherwise, the tax rate or the statutory provisions are as it is. But the important part is since earlier we used to read section, then subsection, then proviso, and then explanation. Now there is no proviso clause is there, no explanation clause is there. All come under the head subsection. So how the interpretation will change through this, and what are the impact of this? Although now we have new income tax rules also, although it is draft rule, but it is already here. So we need to understand is there any change in the rule which is a draft rule shared by the government. And interest important thing is earlier we have 1922 Act, then 1961 Act. Now we have 1961 Act, which is going to change from 1st of April 2025 Act. How this transition will take place? How all the assessments which are being still continuing in the previous Act, how it is to be, how it is take place in the new act. What will be the position if the person is filing a return under 139(8)(a), that is updated return, relating to the previous law in the new law, how it will take place. So these are all issues which we need to understand, and of course for this we have the speakers which is being identified by Sumit sir, and today's speaker Prakash Sinha sir is being a lawyer also. He can guide us about the change in the structure and how the interpretation will change, and what are the judgments now which they have no effect subsequently, or is there any scope of litigation for the professionals, because government is every time saying now it is being simplified. So what are the implication is subsequently take place, that is important to understand. So for this, thank you so much, and be with us for 9 days. I can say that it's a Navratra for all the chartered accountants to understand that the new income tax provisions. Thank you so much. Over to Sumit ji.
Thank you, Sachin Bhai. And definitely, this Navratra we are going to learn new income tax act and by the expert from the different area of income tax. And today we have with us CA Mr. Prakash Sinha ji. About him, I would like to brief about him. Mr. Prakash Sinha ji is a practicing advocate enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi and has an experience of more than 25 years in the field of direct indirect tax laws, fiscal laws, corporate laws. He is qualified chartered accountant and qualified master in law with a gold medal and practicing advocate. He is the founding partner of law firm Finjurious. He has got the expertise in the FEMA, IBC, GST, customs, income tax matters, both the domestic tax issues, international tax, including transfer pricing. He has expertise in handling the matters related to infrastructure project, including the APC contract. He has extensively worked in the petroleum, pharmaceutical, natural gas sectors, both upstream and downstream project, and offshore and onshore issues. He has been an active member of domestic international organizations like Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, Association of Europe, European Attorney, American Bar Council. He is chairman of the Delhi branch of CTC. He regularly appears in various tribunals, appellate tribunals, court, including the High Court, Supreme Court, in the high stake matters. So, with this high value profile, I invite Prakash sir to take up the uh, initial first lecture of this Income Tax Act 2025. Over to you, Prakash sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sachin ji. Thank you, Sumit ji. Thanks to all participants for giving me an opportunity to learn this subject here. क्यों मैं बोल रहा हूँ लर्न करने के लिए? हमने जो पढ़ा था इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961, वो 2000 मार्च 2026 में खत्म हो रहा है. अब नया लॉ आ रहा है. इस तरह से हम लोग सभी कोई नए हैं. एवरीवन इज द लर्नर इन दिस केस हियर. कोई ये नहीं बोल सकता है कि मैंने इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 काफी पढ़ा हुआ है, इसलिए मैं इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 2025 पारा जानता हूं. एवरीवन ऑन द सेम प्लेटफॉर्म. गवर्नमेंट ने हमें सभी को एक सेम प्लेटफॉर्म पर खड़ा कर दिया है. इट इज अ ग्रेट दैट सुमित जी हैज गिवन मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. उन्होंने अपॉर्चुनिटी दिया, और इस अपॉर्चुनिटी में इतने सारे पार्टिसिपेंट के सामने मुझे कुछ अपने नॉलेज शेयर करने का मौका मिलेगा, और मौका वो भी मिलेगा कि मैं उससे उनसे कुछ लर्न करूंगा. आज लर्न करने का अधिक समय है. मैं इस डिस्कशन को मोर पार्टिसिपेट रखूंगा rather देन मोनोलॉग, सो दैट कि आप लोग अपना क्वेश्चन जरूर पूछे और सारे डाउट को भी क्लियर करें. जनरली बीइंग ए एडवोकेट, मैं पीपीटी बनाता नहीं हूं, लेकिन इस केस में मुझे पीपीटी, मैंने कुछ रखा है पीपीटी. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि कुछ पीपीटी आप लोगों से शेयर किया जाएगा. और मैंने सुमित भाई को शेयर कर दिया है पीपीटी, और कोशिश ये करूंगा कि अगर ये पीपीटी रन हो तो अच्छी बात है, नहीं तो आई विल लाइक टू डिस्कस एज इट इज हियर। कमिंग टू, अब मैं आता हूं टॉपिक पर। जो पहला क्वेश्चन आता है सभी के दिमाग में कि अगर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 61 आज 64 ईयर्स से ठीक चल रही थी, तो क्या जरूरत था इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 2025 बनाने का? जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो आता है, सबसे पहले बात यह है, क्या गवर्नमेंट ने क्या अचीव किया, टैक्स पेयर ने क्या अचीव किया, टैक्स स्टेक होल्डर ने जो कि टैक्स पेयर हैं उन्होंने क्या अचीव किया? गवर्नमेंट ये बोलती है कि हमने इस लॉ को बनाया सिंप्लीफाई करने के लिए। तो पहला क्वेश्चन ये उठता है कि आप जब सिंप्लीफाई करने जा रहे हैं तो आप ये एक्सेप्ट करते हैं कि जो अर्लियर लॉ था वो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड था। कॉम्प्लिकेटेड किसने किया था? तो नेचुरली गवर्नमेंट ने ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड किया था। Okay, I will like to continue in English here. Sorry, sir. I thought that I should combine both the Hindi and English here, but I will definitely mm, uh, uh, take up this matter in English here. I will start again here. The Income Tax Act 1920, Income Tax Act 1961 was already there since last 60 years or 64 years here, with lot of amendments, lot of proviso, lot of explanation. Everything was there. The issue was there after 1961 Act. There was an attempt was made for the direct tax code in 2010, and after that there was also an attempt was made for the purpose of writing the Income Tax Act also in 2016, when Mr. Jaitley was the finance minister. Subsequently, what happened in the 2023, 2024, when the government wanted to rewrite the whole law. And first of all, the purpose, which I wanted to discuss, that the three purpose can be there. First purpose is that purpose from the stakeholder, purpose from the government, purpose from the legislature side, purpose from the consultant side, whether all the purpose has really satisfied this job or not here. Then we will see that the government has said in our own program, Mr. Venkatraman has come here and he has stated that the purpose of the new Income Tax Act is to simplify the things, simplify the language, so that everyone can understand that part here. Government objective is very good. This law should be simplified. But whether have we achieved this objective? The first question is that, have we achieved this objective? Or if we have not achieved the objective, or if we have achieved the objective, whether have we achieved the objective thoroughly, or is something is pending here? Then you will find that no. Income Tax Act, since it is really it will be amended like in each year. So that before the Income Tax Act 2025 starts here, the amendment has been done through the finance bill, and through the budget amendment had already taken place here. We will not go into the amendment part here because I understand that lot of things has been discussed in the budget also. So I will not discuss on the part here. I will discuss few of the issues here which are very much important for a practitioner like us to understand what the tax law is there and whether really is something changed or not changed here. Then we will see what is the implication of that part here, how to understand that part here. Generally, if we try to start that Income Tax Act, what are the major broad changes here that we can try to understand here? For this, if allows Sumit ji allow, I can start my PPT here.
Yes, Prakash.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Just hold on here.
And Prakash brother, you can keep the language as Hindi English mix for the better
Okay, no,
understanding
no,
of.
no, no, no issue.
Yes.
यहाँ पर आकर के आई फील नॉस्टैल्जिक हियर because it's my own organization which I love so much here.
Great, sir.
Allow, sir, allow.
कहाँ पर अलाउ होती है?
ये हैंड्स
आ रही है अब ये?
यस यस ओके
ओके, चलिए,
Please make it full screen, sir.
ओके। अब आ रही है पूरी अच्छे से? स्क्रीन हो गई है?
यस परफेक्ट सर परफेक्ट
Yes, sir.
ओके, सो आई विल रन थ्रू दिस स्क्रीन हियर, और कहते हैं पीपीटी, बट आई विल रन थ्रू ए बिट फास्ट हियर। थोड़ा सा मैं जल्दी चलूंगा इसमें, बिकॉज आई विल लाइक टू इंटरेक्ट मोर रादर देन गोइंग थ्रू दिस पीपीटी हियर। सो व्हाट वाज द बैकग्राउंड 1961 जो हम लोग जानते हैं 2025 में 2062 में आई थी। उसके बाद इट वाज राइट नाउ आफ्टर 6 digit, it was six decade it has completed, and subject to frequent amendment was there. Yes, due to this frequent amendment complexity, there was lot of complexity, and there was not lot of amendment here. So there was a requirement that there should be alignment with the modern time here. There's a one timeline that has been prepared 61 से लेकर के 25 तक इफेक्ट, एंड जो नई एक्ट है वो कब से इफेक्ट आ रही है। इट इज जस्ट ए ब्रॉड पार्ट हियर, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिस्कस हियर। 1961 में 800 सेक्शंस थी, 2025 में इट इज 536 सेक्शंस, एंड you will find that yes, it is a reorganized logically, it is grouped here. So now we can say that we have the lesser number of section. Previous year concept of the previous year and the assessment year, which is one of the major amendment here, one of the major changes here. Previous year and assessment year, which was causing a lot of confusion also. Then it has come to the concept of tax year, and concept of tax year में फिर उसको simplify किया जाता है, that how we will be coming to the tax year. In this, the issue of the tax year was so much, very much of the important issue, because it's a remarkable change from the concept of the assessment year and previous year to a new concept of a tax year. And in order to clarify this part, the CBDT has also raised an FAQ, have issued an FAQ here. So what are the FAQ? They have said that, yes, what are the tax year? They have said that how to understand the tax year. I'm not going to discuss that much issue of the tax year in through the FAQ, because FAQ is available to everyone here. Now, in the new act also, we have all the heads, 5 heads, like under section 14, section 14A, we have the 5 heads. Sorry, section 14, we have the 5 heads here. Salary, income from the salary, income from the house property, income from business and profession, capital gain, and income from other sources here. सेम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी यहाँ पे रखी गई है, इसमें कोई चेंजेस नहीं है। लेकिन यस, बेसिक चार्जिंग सेक्शन इज कंसेप्चुअली, is retained conceptually. When we say what is the charging section, please keep in mind here, section 4, which is the mother charging section of the Income Tax Act, section 5, section 6, section 6 तो नहीं है, section 6 talks about the residential status, and section 9. So 4, 5, and 9, very much important section of the Income Tax Act 1961 का। इसी में 4 में कुछ चेंजेस किया गया है, 5 has been retained the same things here, और 9 भी almost same है, part है। We are not going into the numbers of the 9, what is there here. So the conceptually, the framework of the I can see the basic structure of the law is keeping the same, because we have to focus on the section 4, 5 and 9. सेक्शन 4 में कुछ अमेंडमेंट किया गया है, जैसे कि जो आपका ये था टीसीएस था, हाउ टू कलेक्ट द टैक्स हेयर. सो टैक्स कलेक्शन का तीन ही मैकेनिज्म था, या तो आप सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स पे कर दीजिए, या एडवांस टैक्स पे कर दीजिए, या टीडीएस पे टैक्स पे कर दीजिए. अभी इन्होंने बोला कि नहीं नहीं, टैक्स कलेक्शन एट सोर्स जो था वो भी जो है टैक्स कलेक्शन का मेथड है. सो इन्होंने टीसीएस को भी इंक्लूड कर लिया है. सो नाउ द अर्लियर एम्बिगुटी of the 1961 Act has been removed here. Residential status is the one of the important issue, that how to define the residential status, and 2025 Act थोड़ा सा उसको क्लियरिफाई करता है रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस के रूप में. इट क्लियरिफाई दैट व्हाट इज द रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस. लैंग्वेज 1961 का लैंग्वेज था, because it was many cases the provision used to start notwithstanding anything contained in any other act or any other provision or anything here. So this word notwithstanding has been changed with the word irrespective of. Then we will understand that what is the meaning of the term irrespective of. And this notwithstanding, if you any can recall, और अभी सभी को मालूम होगा, section 1023C used to be a notwithstanding proviso and proviso and proviso here. It's a long and long section used to be there. Now this all the provisos goes here. Now all the explanation goes, and every proviso and explanation has come through a different section here. We will discuss the implication of these structural changes here. How this was here. Frequent reliance on the explanation and proviso was there. 1925 Act में 2025 Act में it's a plain language has been used, and better readability because it's a sequence manner में उसको बनाया गया है. Faceless assessment will continue in this part here in 2025 one also. Digital first design, we will discuss this part here, how the digital first design will also there. Faceless assessment will also be continue, and faceless notice that is there here. 1961 में faceless was totally scattered. There was a, now they are trying to say that I am consolidated the structure here, like under the section 10, there should be used to be an income which is not subject to taxation, which is exempt, or you can say that which is not part of the total income. It has come from the tabular form. Like in the TDS part here, it has come from the tabular form. So there is no requirement of such much of the multiple of the number of the section. It has come on the tabular form, that part here. Virtual digital assets, we will discuss the virtual digital asset in the detail here. Reassessment and scrutiny. Reassessment and scrutiny is one of the critical part of the any tax administration. And earlier, the word recomputation that used to be in section 147, 155, that was not there in the definition of the term assessment here. That earlier used to be different here. What is the assessment here? Whether the assessment includes the recomputation or not. There was a certain judgment of the High Court and Supreme Court in this context here, particularly in the case of auto and metal engineers, taxman 363.com here, where the Supreme Court has said that how to understand the term assessment here. The assessment starts from the when the assessment starts and when the statement finishes here. And now you can say the term in the term assessment, they have also included the term recomputation also. Very good part here. Penalty and prosecution. Earlier there was a lot of penalty and prosecutions provisions were there. Interpersonal dispute was quite common. Now it has been rationalized and simplified part here. Appeal to CIT, ITAT, Supreme High Court and Supreme Court. Yes, the same hierarchy is been mentioned here. So we can discuss that part here, how do that part here. Taxpayer Charter 2025 embeds the right-based compliance framework, focus on transparency and accountability also. The purpose, one of the purpose that we discussed about that to make the law simplify. The other purpose is that there should be less litigation here. We have to understand that government wants that the litigation should be reduced here, because they understand, government understand the litigation creates a logjam before all the administrative officers here and before the courts also. But we have to see that whether this new act will increase the litigation or whether the new act will decrease the litigation. What will happen to that part here? We will see this part here subsequently. Continuity of the reform, as I mentioned that there was a earlier core tax principle has been retained, reform structure language and compliance has modernized, and now they are trying to shift from amendments to another a consultative code here. But the government says that I'm shifting from amendment driven to the constituted code here. But by reading the new budget of 2026, it does not look like so here. So now a summary part is that from 800 section to 536 sections, PY concept and AY has been removed and now the tax year has come. Drafting earlier it was a complex, but now it is a simplified. And system, it is no more amendment driven part here. Then we see here, what are the major changes here? Major changes that I discussed, that assessment now include the recomputation also. Yes, assessment will include the recomputation here. Assistant director definition has been changed to include the deputy directors here. Earlier, the deputy director was not the part of the assistant commissioner. It has been included here. Books of account. The major issue arises here, particularly in the case of search and seizure proceeding. What is the books of account? So now the law says explicitly includes the cloud-based storage is also a books of account of the SSC here. Charitable provision, very big difference that is coming from the charitable provision. Earlier section 11 was there, and after that 11, 12 and 12A, 12AA, 13 was there here. Now there's a new provision is coming here right now, and new provision talks about the non-profit organization. It does not talk about the charitable here. So how to understand the term non-profit organization from the term charitable here? And particularly we have to keep in mind the recent judgment of the Ahmedabad Urban Club here. In this case, how the Supreme Court has discussed the concept of the section 215 proviso clause here. What happens if the charitable trust starts doing the business? When the charitable trust turnover from the new business is more than 20%, what happens if they earn some more profit into? And we will discuss into this concept in the context of Ahmedabad Urban Club and new novel. Both we will discuss here. Now, the cooperative society, earlier the cooperative society was restricted only for the state here. Now the cooperative society will include the union territory. The cooperative society which is registered under the union territory is also included here. Income, earlier the definition of income was something clumsy here. Whether the income definition will cover all type of export benefit or not here. There was a debate, and I feel that there was an important judgment from the Bombay Tribunal here, which went to the Supreme Court in the case of Topman exports here, whether what type of export benefit that will be included in the definition of income. Since earlier the definition of income under section 224 of the Income Tax Act was an inclusive definition. So can we say that whether all the receipts or all the benefit that is arising from the export here, like remission benefit here, whether that will be covered under the covered under the definition of the income? There was some debate on this issue, but now they have clarified that all import-export incentive included and a broader scope has been given. Relative definition, very much important definition is relative here. We know that there is definition, relative definition is under section 2, under section definition is there under section 2, clause 41 of the Income Tax Act. Apart from this definition, there's another definition is there under section 56 here. So there was a multiple definition was there under the 214 was something, 241 definition was something else. Under 256 definition was something else. The issue was raised that why this definition is there. Then the point was raised that 56 is the SAR provision, a special anti-avoidance rules here. So they wanted the specific relative definition to be covered here. Now the now the definition of the relative has also widened here. I will come into this part when we'll discuss about the relative here. Tax year concept, as we said, the tax year is there. Tax collection mechanism is there. Place of effective management under section 6. Now they said that company they will try to, earlier there was an entity as a whole. Now they will take the company as a whole. And lastly, we will discuss about the repeal and saving provision, which is the important agenda for discussing today here, how to understand the repeal and provision, particularly rights and obligation of the taxpayer, rights and obligation of the department, rights and obligation of the government into this case here. Then we will try to understand what will happen in this part here. And we have the special slides for this purpose on the issue of repeal and saving provisions here. So now come to the assessment. As I discussed, that assessment means now the recomputation has been included. So assessment definition has been broadened here to include the 147, to include the 154, to include the 263 also. Earlier was the word recomputation was not there under the under the definition of the Income Tax Act. So there was a dichotomy under section 147 and the section of the and the definition section, that was the section 213, the 28, subsection 28 was there. So earlier definition was there, 2 subsection 8, which does not include the recomputation. Now we have the 147, which included the recomputation. So there was an issue whether the recomputation is a part of the assessment or not. Now they have said, no. This is a part of the 147 also. Books of account, as we discussed, that books of account now include the written. Earlier, books can be written electronic and digital. Now it expressly says that cloud-based books will also be covered on the as the books of account of the taxpayer or the SSC here. Concept of NPO. In fact, as I discussed that right now, that earlier there was no concept of NPO. In India, there's a trust here. I will just, for a few minutes, I will discuss about the trust here. Trust can be a private trust or a public trust here. The private trust was not part of the section 12 onwards here, because private trust is created for the specific purpose here. That was subject to the taxation as the representative SSC, or if the private trust is a discretionary trust or a non-discretionary trust. If the private trust is a discretionary trust, it has to be used to be taxed in the hands of the trustee. If it is a non-discretionary trust, it used to be taxed in the hands of the beneficiary. If it is a public trust here, then the public trust is there. It is a religious trust or is a charitable trust here. If it is a religious trust, something else will come here. If it is a charitable trust, then the section 213 used to be discussed about what will be the charitable trust. 215 was there. What type of activity that will be covered under the charitable trust. And under the charitable trust, there was a proviso clause was there. How this proviso clause is there, how this proviso clause will interpret. And we have a long list of argument on this case here, starting from 1961, where the predominant object of the trust was used to be seen here. And subsequently, the word solely was discussed in the Ahmedabad Urban Development Club here and in the new novel here. And we will discuss that part here, how the Ahmedabad Urban has redefined the concept of the NPO. And for this purpose, a new chapter has come. In fact, new chapter of the non-profit organization has come. And this new chapter is coming into the, I feel that it will come here from the, in the special cases, it will come here, procedure and assessment. Yes, non-profit organization will start from the section 332 that talks about the special provision for registration of non-profit organization. It will start from the 332 and it will go up to the 335 here. Totally a special code in between the income tax code here. It talks about the registration, income of the registered non-profit organization, commercial activities, compliances, violations. They have discussed all the part of this in a special chapter itself, and that starts from the 332 to 335 here. Very much important development of this, because this is a structurally change here. We will see that whether this all the elements of section 12 is coming into the NPO or not here, or NPO is a much wider word here. So if the NPO is a much wider word, how to understand that this chapter in the context of section 12 and 12A and 12 double A here. Cooperative society. We know that the formation of the cooperative society is part of the fundamental right. Earlier, the cooperative society which was formed into the Union Territory was not covered to the definition of the cooperative society. Now they have included that yes, society registered into the cooperative into the Union Territory is also covered into this part here. Income and export definition, which I already discussed in the case of what was happened in the case of Bombay Tribunal, and subsequently this matter traveled to the Supreme Court here, and how the Supreme Court has looked into the topman exports here. Now, coming to the other part here. So I have discussed assessment, assistant directors, books of account, charitable purpose, and that part here. Repeal and saving. Now, coming to the repeal and saving, which starts right now. We will discuss about the repeal and saving, how this goes on the repeal and saving. If prior to repeal and saving, is there anything that we can discuss, Sumit bhai?
Yes, sir.
Prior to going to the repeal and saving, shall we discuss about something about section 4, 5, and 9? Then we go to
I
536.
think no one query was there, detailed definition of NPO, but I think we are having a one separate session on NPO itself.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can move ahead forward, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Very great here. Now, the situation arises, what is the 536, which talks about a repeal and saving section here. As Sachin ji has raised, how it will perform here, and we will go into this each of the section here, and we will see that how it performs, interest calculation, everything, and we will discuss much more detail on the 536 here. Now, the law says, if you go to section 536, this law says here, this Income Tax Act 1961 will be repealed here. Then the situation arises, what is the meaning of the term repeal? How to understand the term repeal? Whether the repeal will means that, okay, 1961 Act will no more there. Yes, no more there. So what will happen? The Act which has been done prior to 1936, prior to in the 1961 Act here, एक सबसे बड़ा दिमाग में ये आती है कि अभी के जो एसएससी का राइट्स है, यो जो उसकी लायबिलिटी है, जो उसकी डिमांड है, या किसी का कोई रिफंड है, या किसी ने कोई 10AA का एग्जाम्पशन ले रखा है, किसी ने कोई 80IA का एग्जाम्पशन ले रखा है, किसी ने अगर किसी का कोई कैरी फॉरवर्ड लॉस है, हाउ दैट विल बी कंटिन्यूड, वेदर दिस न्यू एक्ट विल वॉश अवे एवरीथिंग, or whether the new act is a clean slate policy, or it is going to start with a clean slate here. The answer will be definitely no. The answer will be definitely no, because all the rights of the taxpayer, as well as the department, as well as the government, it has been secured here. सभी के right को secure किया गया है. If we understand from the jurisprudence point of view, किसी भी statute में क्या चीज होती है, अगर देखा जाए, जो subject है, that is the person, SSC is the subject here. Object has to collect the tax, and what are the rights, property, and liability. The department has got the right to collect the tax. Department has got the right to collect the tax. SSC has the liability to pay the tax. There's a right to do the assessment. अगर assessment हो रही है, अगर कोई refund है, SSC has the right to claim the refund. If the SSC has a right to claim the refund, There's a department right is there to go for the 147 or for the reassessment. So all the rights, liability is there. There's a balancing of the rights and liability here. The situation will be there. What will happen to these rights here? Whether the right continues or
Excuse me, sir.
not continues. Yes, please.
Sir, we are not able to view the PPT.
Oh, sorry. टेक्निकल चीज है ना, ये बड़ा दिक्कत होता है.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay.
आगे
Okay.
आप लोग जब भी कोई इशू हो जस्ट रेज द, बता दिया करो आप. सो वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट द दैट पार्ट हियर, वेदर रिपील इज देयर. तो रिपील है, तो रिपील के बाद क्या हमारे सारे राइट सिक्योर्ड हैं या नहीं है. दिस इज जस्ट ए इंट्रोडक्टिव पार्ट हियर, देन वी विल गो इनटू ईच ऑफ द रिपील हियर. फर्स्ट पार्ट इज दैट कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ द लीगल राइट्स एंड ऑब्लिगेशन हियर. सारे राइट्स जो हैं वो सिक्योर्ड हैं आपके. अगर किसी ने कोई रिफंड है किसी का, उसको उनको वो रिफंड मिलेगा. किसी ने 10AA का एग्जम्पशन लेकर चल रहे हैं, इवन दो एक्ट रिपील हो गई है, फिर भी 10AA का एग्जम्पशन कंटिन्यू रहेगा. किसी के पास कोई 80IA का कोई आया है, तो उसके पास वो 80IA का वो कंटिन्यू होगा. अगर मैंने बहुत लोग, आई हैव हर्ड इन मेनी सेमिनार, लाइक व्हेन द जीएसटी केम हियर, जीएसटी जब 2017 में आई थी, so earlier benefit which was there under the excise or under the VAT, that was removed here. because आप लोगों को सभी को मालूम होगा, पहले बद्दी में, हिमाचल प्रदेश में सेंट्रल एक्साइज का बेनिफिट हुआ करता था, एंड वहां पर बहुत सारी यूनिट लगा करती थी, and they used to claim the excise benefit here. When the GST came, that benefit went away. The issue went to the Supreme Court, and the court said that the government has, there is no right of estoppel against the legislature. Legislature कभी भी आपके राइट को डिसकंटिन्यू कर सकती है. एग्जम्पशन आपका कोई राइट नहीं है. So there was a famous case that went to the Supreme Court here. Then the issue arises also in Income Tax Act. क्या Income Tax Act ये properly, whether it is a complete repealment of the Income Tax Act 1961, you will find that yes, technically it is repealment, but practically it is not a repealment here, because सारे के सारे प्रोविजन जो इनकम टैक्स 1961 में था, वो सारे के सारे प्रोविजन इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 2025 में आया है. सो पहला इशू आता है कि यस, कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ द लीगल राइट एंड ऑब्लिगेशन, ऑल दिस लीगल राइट विल कंटिन्यू हियर. कोई लीगल राइट आपसे टेकअप नहीं किया जाएगा. सेकेंड वाज प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ द ऑनगोइंग प्रोसीडिंग्स. तो सारे जो प्रोसीडिंग्स हैं वो आपके कंटिन्यू रहेंगे. कोई भी प्रोसीडिंग्स जो है वो कंटिन्यू, आपका डिसकंटिन्यू नहीं होगा. मींस अगर किसी का 147 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का 143 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रही है, किसी का 263 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का 264 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का 154 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का 127 का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी के कोई प्रोसिक्यूशन का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का कोई पेनाल्टी का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है, किसी का कोई इम्यूनिटी का प्रोसीडिंग चल रही है. वो सारे के सारे प्रोसीडिंग्स कंटिन्यू करेंगे. उसमें कहीं भी कोई तब्दीली नहीं है. देयर इज नो चेंजेस इनटू दैट पार्ट हियर. यू विल गेट ऑल द थिंग्स हियर. वैलिडिटी ऑफ द पास्ट एक्शन. थर्ड पार्ट, all the past action which has been done under the earlier law, under the Income Tax Act 1961, will be as valid here. वो valid रहेगा, उसमें कोई changes नहीं है. Enforcement of the penalties. The penalty, there is a cardinal principle under Article 20. The penalty उस दिन की लगाई जाती है जिस दिन offense हुआ है. So if the offense has been done in the erstwhile act, 1961 act, then वो penalty will continue into the new act also, because the penalty was done into the earlier law. Carry forward and losses and the MAT here. Carry forward of loss and credits here. I understand that on the MAT, there was a detailed discussion in the budget, how the MAT has to be discussed. but law has said that losses, taxes carried forward, that will continue here. Continuation of the election and declaration, इसका मतलब ये हो गया कि मान लीजिए कि आपने ऑप्ट किया हुआ है न्यू स्कीम ऑफ द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट, वो ऑप्शन आपका चलते रहेगा इलेक्शन, वो इलेक्शन दैट यू हैव डन, सो यू हैव इलेक्टेड फॉर द न्यू प्रोविजन, दैट इलेक्शन विल कंटिन्यू. किसी ने कोई डिक्लेरेशन फाइल किया हुआ है लाइक 15G 15H, किसी ने फाइल किया हुआ है दैट ही इज नॉट देयर, सो दैट डिक्लेरेशन विल कंटिन्यू हियर. इंटरेस्ट कैलकुलेशन, इंटरेस्ट जो है आपका ट्रांजिशन पीरियड में वो इंटरेस्ट सारा का, अगर मान लीजिए कि आपका 1961 में कोई आपका टैक्स लायबिलिटी आई है, उसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट है, वो इंटरेस्ट आपके 1922 2025 एक्ट में भी चलती रहेगी. और अगर कोई रिफंड है उसके ऊपर भी इंटरेस्ट है, वो भी आपका चलता रहेगा. कंटिन्यूएशन ऑफ अपील एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रोसेस, अगर कोई एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अपील है दैट विल आल्सो कंटिन्यू, एंड कोई एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रोसीडिंग्स है दैट विल आल्सो कंटिन्यू हियर. Administrative instruments here, what will happen to the administrative instrument here, like agreement, like we know that government has entered into the lot of agreements also, like double tax avoidance agreement here. Government has issued many notification, circular schemes, like schemes issue हुए हैं, that will continue to operate unless there is a conflict with it, unless there is a new conflict with this there. This prevents administrative disruption during the transaction. Very important part है. One thing that we have to understand that what will happen, the judgments here, जो judgment old statute में जो judgment आए हैं, वे judgment आज के डेट में कंटिन्यू करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे 2025 वाले एक्ट में. If it will not continue, if it does not have the force, then we have to understand what was the ratio that was decided into that judgment, whether this ratio will continue into this judgment or not, whether there is an amendment was made, or whether this through the amendment the judgment goes away right now. We will discuss this part here. Application of the specific tax situation, as I discussed that 10AA, 80IA, sare benefit that will be there. No reinstatement of the expired limitation period. There is nothing like that. Those things for which the limitation has been expired, that will out here. Now application of the General Clause Act, जो General Clause Act का administration था वो भी apply करेगा. We will see that how this General Clause Act will apply here. Now we are going in detail of the section 536, which talks about that how this repeal provision has to be implemented, how it has to be worked, because repeal, I understand that there are a lot of doubt on the repeal provision. Broadly, we have discussed that how it will operate here. So the first part that talks about repeal provision, just hold on. That is the 536(1). 536(1) talks about 536 repeals the 1961 Act, while the preserving rights, liability and proceeding already existed under this Act. 1 and 2 जो है आपके सारे right को preserve करता है, and particularly it says that irrespective of the repeal of the Income Tax Act 1961, as to be anyway this was here, and subject to the subsection 3. So how to understand the term subsection 3? So all the rights which is there under the old statute, that will continue here. And what the 536(3) talks about, 536(3) talks about where any reference is made in this act to any tax year commencing on the 1/4/2025 or in any earlier tax year, the same shall be constituted as a reference to the corresponding previous year and repeal of the repeal Income Tax Act. तो जहां पर इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में यहां पर टैक्स ईयर बोला गया है, that will refer to the previous year under the old statute here. So we have to understand the tax year replaces the previous year only, not the assessment year. Earlier, right now, the previous year and assessment year both has been removed here. So there is no term called assessment year. only there are two terms here right now. One is the tax year, one is the financial year. The term financial year has not been defined under the Income Tax Act. I understand the financial year was defined under the General Clause Act, which says that any year which starts from the 1st April of the month year here, which talks about any period of 12 months which start from the uh, 1st of April here. That is called financial year. But now the concept of tax year is there. But however, under the Income Tax Act, the tax year and the financial year that will be continue to operate here. In some provisions, there's a concept of financial year are there, but in maximum provision, the concept of tax year is there. So we have to be very clear here. The tax year replaces the previous year, mainly the previous year. Now, earlier we used to say end of the assessment year. So now there will be no more assessment year here. So will be there 1 year after the tax year. So everything that will be counted from the tax year perspective here. Past operation, as we have discussed that 536, how it will be there into the past operation and how it will be handle the past rights and obligation of the taxpayer also. Now, to be here, like nothing shall affect any right, privilege, obligations, liability accrued or incurred under the repeal act or order under such repeal act here. So what is says here, how you will safeguard the rights and accrued rights and liability of the taxpayer. It is very much important. I've given the examples also that you will save the right of the taxpayer and it will be save the right of the department also. Both the right will be saved. ऑब्लिगेशन ऑफ द टैक्स पेयर एज वेल एज द ऑब्लिगेशन, दोनों के ऑब्लिगेशन को ये सेव करेगा, दोनों के ऑब्लिगेशन दोनों के राइट को ये सेव करता है. अब 2C में इशू ये आता है कि इफ देयर इज सम प्रोसीडिंग which is pending, which has been done earlier, what will happen to those proceeding? Whether this proceeding will culminate automatically? The answer will no. There is no provision of culmination of the proceeding here. The proceeding will continue, and this says that clause 2C says that this proceeding will continue and any notice shall issued under the old statute will be deemed that it has been issued under the new statute here. Like in simple word, any dispute or case relating to tax year beginning before 1st April 2026, whether already in process or newly started after the 2025 is gone, shall follow the 1961 Act norms here. Suppose that after 4 months, after 5 months, June 2026 May, department wants to invoke the 147 proceeding for the purpose of assessment year 22-23. Yes, department can invoke. Yes, department can invoke for the 2022 and 23 का भी provision को invoke कर सकती है. Under 147 भी invoke कर सकती है. So all the law which was there prior to the new law that will continue to operate here. So there will be no procedural gap will be there. There is no procedural gap will be there. It will a very smooth transition that will be there here. पेनाल्टी प्रोसीडिंग, कंटिन्यूएशन ऑफ द पेनाल्टी प्रोसीडिंग. बहुत लोगों को ये होता है कि पेनाल्टी प्रोसीडिंग कंटिन्यू होगा कि नहीं होगा. यस, ऑल द लाइक सेक्शन 2D टॉक्स अबाउट any proceeding for the imposition of penalty in respect of any tax year beginning before 1st April 2026 may be initiated, imposed under the repeal act as if the 2025 act was not repealed here. So penalty proceeding continue चलेगा, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, किसी तरह से कोई रुकावट नहीं है. Pending appeal, what will happen to the pending appeal? Whether this pending appeal will continue or not. So appeal will continue even if it is a pending appeal. Like pending appeal can be 3 places, like CIT appeal, like ITAT, like High Court, like Supreme Court. So चारों जगह पर कहीं भी कोई pending appeal है वो आपको चलते रहेगा. What will happen to the matter which is pending before the Board of Advance Ruling? Yes, that Board of Advance Ruling that will also continue. What will matter of the which is pending before the assessing officer, like 154 का मैटर है वो पेंडिंग है, वो कंटिन्यू करेगा. What will happen to the matter which is pending before the AO under section 220 का मैटर है what will happen to that? That will also continue. All the proceedings that was there, or 127 proceedings that will continue there, that all that will continue here. As I discussed that election declaration options, like किसी एसईसी ने न्यू स्कीम को डिक्लेयर किया हुआ है, किसी एसई ने ओल्ड स्कीम को डिक्लेयर किया हुआ है, जनरली इट इज वेरी मच देयर दैट यू शुड हैव डिक्लेयर द न्यू स्कीम हियर, जहां पर आप डिडक्शन आपको मिलता है. नाउ यू क्लेम द better benefit there. If you have opted for this benefit scheme here, that option will continue as if that you have already opted here. Similarly, किसी ने एग्जम्पशन क्लेम किया हुआ है 80IA का, 80IC का और एनी 10AA का, वो बेनिफिट मिलता रहेगा, वो बेनिफिट कंटिन्यू होता रहेगा, उसमें कहीं से कोई रुकावट नहीं है. रिफंड, अगर कोई आपकी किसी के पास रिफंड है तो वो रिफंड भी कंटिन्यू होता रहेगा, रिफंड में भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, रिफंड विल कंटिन्यू. और इफ उसके ऊपर जो इंटरेस्ट है, दैट इंटरेस्ट विल आल्सो कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम दैट पार्ट है. Computation of income on breach of condition, like section 2H talks about, if there is a breach of action is there, if some like किसी ने 80IA का बेनिफिट लिया हुआ है but he has not complied the benefit under the new law, so that benefit, the moment he is not complied, the all the benefit will go, so वो benefit नहीं आपको available रहेगा. Like under section 54, we know that under section 54(1) rollover benefit is there, and rollover benefit में is that you have to purchase the house property within the span of 3 years or construct the house property within a span of 3 years. So suppose that you have got the exemption और आपने कोई फंड जो है स्कीम में जमा करवा दिया है, but you have not purchased here. So the commitment which have you given before the year saying that you will be investing this amount in the new house property or by constructing the new house property, that commitment will go on. That commitment cannot be taken here. So if you don't commit there, अगर आप ब्रीच करते हैं वहां पर, that will go back there and उसका जो है assessment back date में होगा. फिर रिकवरी ऑफ आउटस्टैंडिंग लायबिलिटी, अगर किसी के पास आउटस्टैंडिंग कोई टैक्स है which has not been paid here, so that amount will be recovered. So recovery proceeding is not going to stop here. As I mentioned that continuation of DTA AA notification circular, that will be also continue. जो न्यू एक्ट में इस सारे प्रोविजंस हैं वो सारे कंटिन्यू करते रहेंगे, उसमें कहीं कोई चेंजेस नहीं आएगा, एंड दैट विल कंटिन्यू हियर. Limitation period of appeal and applications here. If there is some limitation period has to be counted from the old statute, वो limitation period continue होती रहेगी. Even though new act आ गई है, फिर भी जो है old statute का limitation period वो count होगा, वो कहीं कोई change नहीं होने वाला. That will continue to operate here. All the new thing that will be continue here. So that like suppose that किसी का assessment order जो पास होता है वो 25 मार्च को पास होता है, एंड ही हैज टू मेक एन अपील 25 अप्रैल को, 25 अप्रैल को ही हैज टू मेक एन अपील. सो द लिमिटेशन पीरियड ऑफ 1 month which has been started by after the passing, after receiving the order, assessment order, so 21 month जो है, अगर इसमें भी कुछ पीरियड है और नए 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 एक्ट में भी कुछ पीरियड आ रहा है, so the limitation will start counting from that day here. So please be sure that limitation period for appeal and application that will continue here, उसमें कहीं कोई changes नहीं आने वाली है. Carry forward here, carry forward of tax credit, which is the most of the debatable issue, that what will happen, whether the carry forward होगा या नहीं होगा. Government has said that MAT जो है that will be allowed to be carry forward, and how this will be there, but there is some restriction which has been done from this budget here. We will see in detail here. But if you have a MAT credit, the MAT credit should be allowed to, you should be allowed to take the credit of the MAT as per this statute. But yes, I understand that through this amendment here, there is some restriction has been said that how much credit that can be used here. Carry forward of the specific losses, very much important. Some of the losses which you have accumulated in those that losses, वहां पर जो losses है, like income from house property, if you have the loss under section 71B, profit and gains of business, if you have the loss under Section 72, speculation business, if you have loss under Section 73, if you have the specified business under 73A, if you have the activity of owning and maintaining the raw seeds, race horses, that was under the 74A. So whatever the specified, that whatever the loss was there, that loss you can very well carry forward this loss into the new year. This is one of the biggest amendment that is there. So your right is going on. No one is taking your rights by simply saying that there's a change in the law. Now the concept is carry forward of the capital loss. What will happen to the capital gain and capital loss? Whether that you will apply? Yes, that will also be applied here. Like clause 2 and especially deal. What this deals with the capital loss carried forward from the tax year beginning before 1st April 2026. It provides that the loss under the head capital gain, whether long-term or short-term, which was determined under Section 74 of the Repealed Act 1961. So if there is any capital loss that was there of the tax year commencing this one, shall continue to be carried forward and set off against the income tax at capital gain computed under this 2025 Act. So it will be continued to be carried forward. Carried forward such laws shall be allowed in the same manner as it used to be provided in the 1961 Act here. Amalgamation loss. What will happen to the amalgamation loss? The issue was there. What will happen to if there is a loss that will coming under the 72A? So the new law also says whatever the loss was there due to merger or amalgamation, corporate merger and amalgamation, it will continue to be there. It provides that if before the repeal, any amalgamated or successor company has made any set of loss or depreciation in its hand pursuant to Section 72, then post repeal under any of the old 72 conditions that will continue here. And in fact, the 72 continued in the 2025 Act here. There's no discontinuation of the benefit under the new law here. Cooperative bank losses that was there under the 2P, and it says that if you have the losses which is under the cooperative bank, that will also be continued to be taken care. And this loss was under 72AB of the Income Tax Act, and this loss you can also carry forward into the new law here. Exempt transfer. We know that under Section 47, there are certain provisions which says that these are the transactions which is not covered as a transfer. So what will happen? Whether the transaction which was made into the erstwhile law, whether it will be taxable into the new law? Answer says no. Whatever if it was not a transfer and which was subject to certain condition also, unless you breach this condition, the benefit of the transfer will continue. No, the benefit of the 47 will continue. If you breach the condition, then only the law will apply to you, saying that yes, like as used to be done in the earlier law here. Depreciation allowances. Whatever the depreciation allowances that has been done prior to in the 1961 Act, that will also be continued to apply here. So like when we prepare the depreciation schedule for the purpose of Income Tax Act or 3CD here, we say that accumulated depreciation. So accumulated depreciation as allowed in the old Act also, that will be a covered part of the depreciation when you try to claim the depreciation or when you try to claim the WDV value into the new law here. So that will also be continued here. Like certain deduction like 35 ABA, 35 AB, 35D, 35 double D, or 36 that will continue. That will be also be continued into the new law here. Bad debt provisioning adjustment. If there something was transition to bad debt was there, and during this bad debt some provision was there, that bad debt, if it is used to be earlier bad debt, then it can be continued here. There's no more of that part. You can claim the benefit also. Faceless scheme. The faceless scheme will also carry on. This faceless is now the part of the Income Tax Act. The faceless has to be, now we see that faceless assessment, faceless appeal, although there was a lot of debate whether the faceless appeal is to the mark or not. Without going into that part here, now the law says the faceless scheme will continue to operate into the new law also. Search and requisition proceedings, whatever the search and requisition proceeding which was initiated under the old statute, that will also be continued into the new statute also. So if you can see the broad part here, interpretation of the tax year, that is also which was there into the 536. So tax year will be continued to operate with the previous year concept here. Now, General Clause Act here. What was the General Clause Act? It says that the General Clause Act will also apply, particularly for the repeal provision. And Section 6 of the General Clause Act says that how to understand the meaning of the repeal, and that part is there under the 536. That will also continue. So I have mentioned that what is the meaning of the repeal here. When this act or the central act or regulation enacted after the commencement of this repeals any prior or future legislation, then indicated the repeal shall not restore anything that was not in force or existing at the time of the repeal takes place here. Generally, if there is a repeal, then the repeal means that this enactment was not there. But whenever there is a repeal is there is a saving clause is there. So we have seen that what has been saved. So you have seen that from the 536, in fact, it is a repealment and saving clause also, which has saved many of the rights of the taxpayer into these issues here. And when you have saved the taxpayer rights, taxpayer liability, taxpayer obligation, that has been saved here. So historical, so it is a you can say what is the achievement that we have done. Now I will remove the slide here. Now I can start this part here. So I have tried to give a broad overview of the changes that has been done, particularly with Section 536. I have tried to emphasize on this part here. So if you see broadly, I'm trying to cover the broadly, what are the major amendment which is there. First thing that is going to affect is the concept of the tax year. The major changes that we're going to change the tax year. The concept of the tax year, now we can say that the previous year is no more, assessment year is no more, only under the new law, financial year is there and tax year is there. So whatever we have to talk is talk about tax year. So the purpose of bringing the tax year was to smoothen the process here, because a illiterate person like me, something used to get confused. What is the previous year? What is the assessment year? Then there was a lot of problem was there. Now they have said that no, I will go with the concept of tax year, and the tax year will be applied here. So major changes is the conceptual part is a tax year. Then the second changes that in my consider opinion is that about the NPO, which Sumit ji has said that he has taken a special section for this purpose here. I'm not going to into that detail here, but earlier it was a charitable organization. Now you can see that non-profit organization. The concept is getting changed here. In fact, you can see the word charitable is very alien in the Income Tax Act, because earlier many cases the charitable organization used to get some benefit here, but the way that progress is getting law is getting amended, the law is getting amendment under Section 12, 12AA and everything getting amendment here. You can see that now in the hands of in the eyes of department, nothing is charitable here. So they are seeing the charitable with some different, always with doubt here. Now they have come with a special chapter here, which talks about the complete NPO, and it is in code. In fact, here it talks about all the rights, all the obligation, all the compliances, all the conditions that has to be made. So in fact, it's a code of NPO that is coming under the Income Tax Act. This is one of the major amendment that is there here. Another major amendment is that about the definition of income. Now, the definition of income says that yes, earlier there was some ambiguity regarding the export benefit. Now they says that yes, nothing to doing here. I will be claiming the ambiguity. I will be claiming all the export benefit as per this part here. We have discussed about that part, assessment, definition of the assessing officer, definition of the some we have also discussed here, and we have discussed about the 536 in detail here, how the 536 is going to implicate here. So based on that overall issues here, I'm more on the interactive part here. Sumit ji, agar allow kare to I can take up any question on the income tax, particularly 536 के ऊपर. It will clear the doubt of the any participants who are here.
Yes sir, definitely it is allowed sir. एंड कोई भी डाउट अगर इससे रिलेटेड 536 जो भी प्रकाश सर ने बड़े अच्छे से बताया, इससे रिलेटेड कोई डाउट है तो प्लीज पोस्ट इन द चैट बॉक्स, वी विल टेक अप. एक तो क्वेरी है सर,
हाँ
व्हाई
प्लीज.
फाइनेंशियल ईयर इज कंटिन्यूड टू बी यूज्ड इन 2025 इन सम सेक्शंस. सर पहला क्वेश्चन सुनील बताइएगा.
हाँ, look, financial year is a very important concept here. This year was also there under the old statute. No, I will not say old statute, 1961 statute also. Like earlier it was there, previous year, assessment year, and financial year. तीन तरह के year आते थे पहले. अब now only tax year is there. But tax year तो वो year हो गया जो previous year को replace किया. But जो what about the earlier the assessment year था? So now you will say that everything that is coming on the part of the year after tax year will be seen from the concept of the financial year. Also, the financial year means which is not been defined, कभी भी defined नहीं था under the Income Tax Act. It was coming from the General Clause Act, like a period of 12 months is starting from the 1st of April, that part here. It was used to be the financial year. Take a case here. If some SSE has started the business in between, like किसी ने 30th 1st of July से start किया, although financial year is from 1st April, but the tax year will start from 1st of July here, because the period from the date when he has started the business. And there's nothing new in this concept here. So the financial year is always part here. वो पहले भी part था और अभी भी part है इसका.
Okay. And one more query. Just a minute, sir.
I will love to address all the query which is there. Otherwise मैंने 536 में सारा कुछ बताया है. Yes.
So financial year is a tax year, definitely. And
No. Financial year is not a tax year, sir. Please.
hmm.
Financial year is the period of 12 months starting from the 1st of April. It is coming from the General Clause Act. The tax year has been defined under the Income Tax Act here. Tax year is equivalent to the previous year, what used to be there here.
Okay.
Like पहले भी जैसे होता था, previous year और financial year पहले भी था. अब सिर्फ previous year को replace किया जा रहा है tax year से.
जी.
Financial year को replace नहीं किया जा रहा है सर. Financial year is not getting replaced here. Financial year तो statute की term है. Previous year was a term of the income tax statute. Assessment year was a term of the income tax statute. Financial year was a term coming from the General Clause Act. It was not part of the income tax statute here. So therefore, the issue was there. Why the financial year is coming? Financial year तो वो continue करेगा, and tax year जो है वो replace कर रहा है previous year को.
Okay.
Not in the, or you will find that under section 536(3), I have especially mentioned, they have referred that whenever the tax year is there, it will refer to the previous year under the old statute, not the assessment year.
Okay. Sir, one more query.
Yes.
उस टाइम पर जो प्रीवियस ईयर के नोटिस आएंगे वो ओल्ड सेक्शंस में आएंगे इन फ्यूचर, अगर कोई नोटिस आएंगे फॉर द
Yes.
अर्लियर इयर्स.
जैसे मैंने बताया, वो सारे आप अभी जो आपको करेंगे, अगर मान लीजिए कि आपका 147 का टिक केस आपका 147 का कोई इश्यूज आ रहा है, और असेसमेंट ईयर 22-23 का 22-23 के नोटिस आ रही है, वो असेसमेंट ईयर का जो नोटिस आ रहा है वो नए लॉ में आ रहा है नोटिस है. So
Okay.
what they will mention under the new law, as per the provision of this law, read with section 147 of the 1961 old act here. So they will mention both the provision here, because provision will continue to operate here. Only thing is सारे राइट्स एंड लाइबिलिटी वो कंटिन्यू करेगा. सो मेंशन, वो नए सेक्शन का नाम मेंशन करेंगे नए सेक्शन का, बट जो एक्शन होगा वो सारे एज पर द ओल्ड स्टैट्यूट ही कंटिन्यू होगा.
Okay. Can someone claim or opt for old rates under new act?
If someone has claimed, look, आपने whenever you have opted for the old scheme under the new act right now, अभी जो इनकम टैक्स की एक्ट है, आपने ऑप्ट किया हुआ है, वो ऑप्ट आपका कंटिन्यू करते जाएगा न्यू एक्ट में. So if you wish to disown that option and you want to go for the new option, my understanding that yes, you can do it here under the new law also.
Okay.
But as long as you are not changing this part here, आपने जो ऑप्शन किया हुआ है, जैसे कि न्यू आपने जो लिस्ट न्यू स्कीम के लिए आपने ऑप्ट किया हुआ है, वो स्कीम कंटिन्यू होगा आपका.
Okay. Sir, what will happen for assessment year as it is not defined in the new rules? क्वात्रा सर पूछ रहे हैं.
Sir, the word assessment year and previous year is no more under the Income Tax Act 2025.
Right.
We have to understand that अभी हम now we have to change our mindset, sir. Generally हमें what we have learned in so much year, always we have run previous year assessment year, previous year assessment year. Now that law says, no, don't confuse with the PY or AY. Always focus on the TY, tax year. And now between the PY and AY we have the tax year. We have to relearn this word tax year, and tax year will be always the where it replaces the previous year. As a simple bhasha mein, it replaces the previous year. So if you have started the business, suppose that you have started the business from 1st of October, so your previous year will be 1st of October to 31st March. Financial year is started from 1st April here. So there's a difference between financial year and previous year.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है. बिजनेस स्टार्टिंग इट इन जुलाई 26.
Yes,
So tax year would be July 26 to March 27.
yes, yes.
Correct. Next query है sir. In that case, impact on litigation continuing. What will happen, Naresh Chandra ji की query? If any litigation of Income Tax 1961 and clarified in Income Tax 2025 Act. In
Hmm.
that case, any impact on litigation on Income Tax 61 issues, it will continue to or resolve as per the old laws.
This question is very interesting question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very interesting question, and I am thankful to जिन्होंने
Naresh ji.
जिन
Naresh
जिन
ji.
पार्टिसिपेंट ने
Right, sir.
क्वेश्चन पूछा है
Hmm.
उनके लिए. और एक बार मैं आपको फिर से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा सभी पार्टिसिपेंट के लिए, एक बार ये क्वेश्चन जरूर एक बार फिर से दोहरा दीजिए सर.
सर ये क्वेश्चन मैं फिर पढ़ता हूँ
हम्म,
कि इफ एनी लिटिगेशन इन इनकम टैक्स 66 1961 एंड
हम्म,
क्लैरिफाइड इन इनकम टैक्स 2025.
हम्म.
In that case, any impact on litigation on income tax 61 issues or it will continue or resolve as per the old laws.
वेरी गुड सर.
Okay.
देखिए, वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ द गवर्नमेंट इज गिविंग सम क्लैरिफिकेशंस हियर. Like there was three issue which was there right now. One was the Fao Jiao issue. Everyone knows that Fao Jiao issue was so big issues here, and every matter has reached to the Supreme Court here. This matter has started from the Hexaware judgment from the Bombay High Court. However, Delhi has not followed the Hexaware, but Bombay and other state has followed the Hexaware, and सारे मैटर फाओ जाओ पर जाकर के सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जमा हो गए. उस इशू पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के एक दो ऑर्डर भी निकल गए जहां पर उन्होंने अपील को रिजेक्ट कर दिया था। फिर बाद में उसको फिर रिज्वाइंटर बाद में उसको फिर फाइल किया गया। नाउ द गवर्नमेंट हैज क्लैरिफाइड दैट फाओ जाओ is not an issue, that Jao is considered to be a foul here, and this issue is getting nullified here. Now, this issue has been clarified right now. So whatever the previous assessment was there, it will again revive, and वो सारा कुछ revive होगा. Second issue was there on the issue of जो कि आपका सेल्फ ड्रिलिंग का इशू आया था, जिसमें यह कहा गया था कि जो 144C में जो टाइमलाइन है वो टाइमलाइन 153 में सबस्यूम करेगी कि नहीं करेगी। सो राइट नाउ गवर्नमेंट हैज आल्सो क्लियरिफाइड। आपको मालूम होगा, वी ऑल नोज इन द केस ऑफ सेल्फ ड्रिलिंग रोका बाथरूम मैटर्स हियर, द मैटर रीच्ड अप टू द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हियर, and in the Supreme Court there was a divergent opinion. Justice Nagaratna was in favor of the SSC, Justice Sharma was in against the SSC. The matter was referred to the larger bench. When the matter was pending before the larger bench, the government has issued the clarification here. 3 issue. Now, DIN issue. Third issue is DIN here. We know that through the budget, earlier when we used to read that if there is no DIN number in the document, you can throw this document or notice in the dustbin, which FM have said in the 2019. However, this is not the case. The court was of the view that not having the DIN number is just a curable defect in the document. That document does not invalidate a document here. Non having a DIN number does not invalidate a document. So therefore, DIN number से किसी भी document की sanctity नहीं जाती है, वो अगर नहीं भी है तो वो चलेगा. So all these 3 clarification has been come here. So now the issue arises here, which is very much important. जब भी clarification आती है तो clarification किस डेट से आती है? जनरली कोई भी clarification आती है तो it is for the removal of doubt आती है. When it is for the removal of doubt तो वो back date से operate होती है generally. But there is a rule. This rule is not a universal rule. This rule is not a universal rule here. अगर आपको मालूम होगा, जिन लोगों ने पढ़ा होगा, देखा होगा, वाटिका टाउनशिप का जजमेंट आया था. वाटिका टाउनशिप का 5 जज बेंच का सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट है. सुप्रीम उसमें क्या था, सर्च के ऊपर में गवर्नमेंट वांटेड टू क्लैरिफाई हियर, बट दिस क्लैरिफिकेशन वाज इशूड post the from the effective date was from a prospective date here. So there is a law of interpretation that applies. If by way of giving the clarification, if the government has especially said that this will apply from the prospective date here, so therefore you have to see that it will apply prospective, it will not apply retrospective here. So we have to find out whether this defect, whether the clarification which has been issued, either it clarifies the past issue or it clarifies the further issue, a future issue, or suppose that it is clarify the past issue but it has been made effective from future date, prospective date, then it will apply with the future benefit for the future date here. Very much relevant issue what Samir ji has raised here. अभी सबको मालूम होगा सेक्शन 54 में, earlier 54 में there was issue a house. If you sell a house and you can purchase a house here, the word a was there. This a was there up to 31st March 2014. 1st April 2014-15 से amendment लाया गया इसमें, and the amendment was said that a will read 1. बट जिसमें ए और 1 का इशू चल रहा था उस वक्त भी बहुत सारे कोर्ट ने ये बोला गया ए मींस मोर देन 1, सिंगुलर मींस प्लूरल आल्सो, जनरल कंडीशन क्लॉज एक्ट लगा करके, एंड दे सेड दैट नो, इफ एसएससी हैज सोल्ड 1 हाउस, परचेज 2 हाउस, देन दे कैन बी गेट द बेनिफिट. दुग्गल का केस है, गीता दुग्गल का केसेस है दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का. However, when the government brought this amendment, they brought this amendment effective from 1st of April 2015. They were knowing that yes, they need some clarification. फिर भी उन्होंने prospective लेकर आया. So we have to understand, if there is something which is a clarificatory amendment, which clarify from the back date, then they will apply from the back date, unless the government says that no, this clarification will apply from a prospective date only. So it is very much important to understand this part here. I hope that मैंने उसको सारे को क्लियरिफाई कर दिया नरेंद्र सर को. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही सर. सुमित जी आपकी
सॉरी
आवाज नहीं आ रही.
सॉरी, इट वाज म्यूट, इट वाज ऑन म्यूट। एक और नितेश जी का क्वेश्चन है इसी से रिलेटेड समथिंग।
हाँ.
कैन द रेफरेंस ऑफ एनी केस लॉ सेटल्ड इन द ओल्ड लॉ बी कंसीडर्ड फॉर द न्यू इश्यूज रेज्ड इन द न्यू लॉ?
ये भी बहुत इंटेलिजेंट इशू है सर. बहुत अच्छे
यस।
क्वेश्चन पूछे गए. वेरी मच आई एम वेरी मच हैप्पी सर.
हम्म।
अगर आपको मालूम होगा, अगर हम लोग सभी को रीड करें 43B का इशू, जो पीएफ एंड ईएसआई के ऊपर इशू चलता था कि वेदर द पीएफ एंड ईएसआई इशू इंप्लायर कंट्रीब्यूशन कब का लास्ट डेट है और इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशन का लास्ट डेट क्या है. इंप्लायर कंट्रीब्यूशन तो सभी को मालूम था कि जब तक हम 139 का रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं तब तक हम उसको पे कर सकते हैं एंड वी कैन टेक द डिडक्शन ऑन दैट पार्ट हियर. इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशंस के ऊपर इश्यूज था. इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशन वाज देयर वेदर दैट विल बी फ्रॉम द date which is specified in the statute and date which has been prescribed into the 139. एक काफी सारा इशू चलता रहा. Rajasthan was in favor of SSE, some court was in favor of SSE. That this matter traveled up to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court ne, I feel that in the case of uh, one judgment, I'm just forgetting the name right now here, which says that nothing doing. अगर पीएफ एंड ईएसआई का पैसा जो इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशन है उसको आपको जमा करना पड़ेगा ड्यू डेट ऑफ द अंडर द पीएफ एंड ईएसआई एक्ट के अनुसार से. सो हाँ, यस, चेकमेट केस, यस, सॉरी, थैंक यू मैम. सो इट वाज चेकमेट केस हियर. नाउ you can see the checkmate was a decided case here, but again litigation kabhi bhi khatam nahi hui. We started the argument here saying that if this deduction has been disallowed under section 143(1), then this deduction will be the AO does not have the jurisdiction to disallow, because under 143(1) only the adjustment has to be made, not the deduction under 36(1)(5), which was the debatable issue. And इसके ऊपर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट भी है in the case of the in the case of the जावेरी मैटर्स here. एंड उसके बाद छत्तीसगढ़ हाई कोर्ट की भी जजमेंट आई, एंड उसके बाद एक और जजमेंट आई ट्राइब्यूनल में. मेनी ट्राइब्यूनल सेड दैट imply contribution under section 36 cannot be disallowed through the intimation order under 143. आप 143 को प्रोसेस करके इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशन को डिसअलाउ नहीं कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज इंप्लाई कंट्रीब्यूशन वाज ऑलवेज ए डिबेटेबल इशू एंड इट कैन नॉट बी कम अंडर द jurisdiction of 143. Now when the matter has triggered here, now through the budget, government has clarified that, saying that I want to maintain the uniformity. What I want to maintain the uniformity, saying that yes, even if the employee contribution has been paid up to the date of the filing of the return, you will be allowed here. Now this benefit can be taken into the earlier old case here, saying that earlier there was a debate. Now the Supreme Court has said, but the Supreme Court judgment has been reversed. The checkmate judgment has been reversed through this amendment. So the benefit should be given to the SSE, even if the assessment, even if the PF and ESI was not deposited within the time here. However, it has been deposited within the due date of the filing of the return here. Very much interesting issue was there. So this amendment in the law has changed the Supreme Court judgment here of the checkmate has been reversed. You can say that checkmate has been nullified here. Sumit sir, anything?
यस गांधी जी पूछ रहे हैं, आई वांट टू नो अबाउट डिफरेंस बिटवीन रिपोर्टेबल एंड नॉन रिपोर्टेबल जजमेंट.
Oh,
आपका पॉइंट पकड़ लिया सर.
हाँ हाँ. देखिए, मैं बताऊं, मैं
सर
सुप्रीम कोर्ट, हाई कोर्ट।
उससे पहले एक आई थिंक आशा जी की क्वेरी उससे प्रीवियस वन से लिंक्ड है। कैन दिस ईएसआई पीएफ चेंजेस बी यूज्ड फॉर केस पेंडिंग अंडर ओल्ड लॉ?
यस, दैट
यस।
वाज द पॉइंट, दैट वाज द पॉइंट आई वाज ट्राइंग। आशा जी, दो आपको क्लू देता हूं मैम। अगर आपका इंटीमेशन ऑर्डर पास हुआ है और इंटीमेशन ऑर्डर में पीएफ एंड ईएसआई के कारण आपका कोई एडिशन हुई है या डिसअलाउंसेस हुई है, you can very well argue that under section 143 EU does not have the jurisdiction to disallow anything which is a debatable issue. There is a Supreme Court judgment on this point here. There was Chhattisgarh High Court judgment here. There is a Delhi Tribunal judgment also. There is a Bombay Tribunal judgment also. So, अगर 143 वन में कोई आपका डिडक्शन वन पीएफ एंड ईएसआई के कारण अगर कोई आपका एडजस्टमेंट हुई है, you can very well file the appeal before the tribunal and you will get a favorable benefit here. पहला चीज तो ये हो गया। तो चेकमेट का हमने एक साइड वे ढूंढा था कि चेकमेट में, बिकॉज चेकमेट वाज arising due to 143.2, not the issue of the 143.1. So we have argued that checkmate cannot be applied because the checkmate says that if there is a if there is a scrutiny assessment. So if there is a no scrutiny assessment, EU does not have the opportunity to verify my detail here. He cannot simply sit here, make any adjustment under section 143.1. So under the intimation order, there cannot be any adjustment on account of late deposit of the PF and ESI issues, either it of the employer contribution or the employee contribution. This is the first part here. You will subsequently you will get the benefit कि अब तो 143.2 हो ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि 143.2 का टाइम जा चुका है। तो यू कैन वेरी वेल से 143.2 अब हो नहीं सकता, 143.1 ही है फाइनल ऑर्डर। आप इसका सीआईटी अपील में जाओ, सीआईटी अपील रिजेक्ट ही करेंगे और कुछ करेंगे नहीं, वो उनका काम ही है रिजेक्ट करना। देन यू गो टू ट्राइब्यूनल, गेट द बेनिफिट ऑफ दैट पार्ट।
But
नाउ
sir, tribunal has remanded it back to the AO for checking and all details. तो मतलब
नो नो नो,
वहां से रिलीफ तो मिला बट वो रिमांड बैक हो रहा है वहां पे,
नहीं नहीं
और
मैम,
एक तो भी
रिमांड बैक,
पेंडिंग है ट्रिब्यूनल में।
नहीं नहीं, रिमांड बैक नहीं हो रहा है। वो सीधा बोल रहे हैं कि डज नॉट हैव द पावर, इट इज जुडिक्शनल इशू, इट इज नॉट द केस ऑफ द रिमांड बैक। आप छत्तीसगढ़ हाईकोर्ट के जजमेंट साइट
ओके।
कीजिए मैम, छत्तीसगढ़
नहीं,
हाईकोर्ट का
मेरा
जजमेंट।
मेरा एक प्रीवियस एक केस में ट्रिब्यूनल ने रिमांड बैक किया है, दैट इज पेंडिंग। अभी कोई और नोटिस नहीं आया, एंड वन इज पेंडिंग विद द ट्रिब्यूनल इटसेल्फ। तो लेट्स सी कि उसमें क्या लिख के देते हैं ये।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, यू कैन वेरी वेल आर्गू, यू साइट द छत्तीसगढ़ हाईकोर्ट का जजमेंट एंड यू कैन सर्गो दिस, कहते हैं अपना ये जावरी जजमेंट ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हियर विच सेज दैट एनी डिबेटेबल इशू कैन नॉट बी पार्ट ऑफ द इंटीमेशन ऑर्डर अंडर 143.1। वो बिल्कुल, यू वेरी गुड केस हियर।
ओके सर।
And
Second was that whether you can take the benefit of the amendment or not. Yes, you have to argue this case saying that this benefit, the amendment which has been made under this act here, is for the purpose of removal of the hardship, or you can say that it is for the benefit of the taxpayer, and it was a curable defect was there, and that you can argue and you can take the benefit also. These are the two things that we are saying. Yes, Sumit sir.
I think one more query is there as per the section.
एक वो रिपोर्टेबल एंड नॉन रिपोर्टेबल की क्वेरी थी जो मेरी
Yes, sir.
क्वेरी से पहले आपने ली थी।
Yes, yes, sir.
देखिए मैं बताऊं, मैं रिपोर्टेबल जजमेंट जनरली द सुप्रीम कोर्ट is the constitutional court, high court is the constitutional court, and like supreme court is the court of constitutional court of record, which say that, and it is coming into the existence due to the constitutions here. High court is the constitutional court here. These two courts are the court of record. So generally यहाँ के जो judgment होंगे that applies to the public at large here. So is these judgments will be a reportable judgment. Generally, it will be reportable judgment here. Then situation here like tribunal का judgment है. Tribunal is the product of the statute. Tribunal has been constituted under the statute here. So tribunal का judgment भी आपको लॉ से निकल कर आ रहे हैं, और वहां पर भी आपको ट्राइब्यूनल का जजमेंट रिपोर्टेबल होंगे। अब आपके पास इशू ये आता है कि ट्राइब्यूनल को कौन सा जजमेंट रिपोर्टेबल होगा और नॉन रिपोर्टेबल होगा। टेक ए concept from the Supreme Court of point of view. If under the Supreme Court point of view, if some cases यहां पर ऐसे हैं, which cases is about the, suppose that which cases about the dowry, which case about the rape, which cause about the some heinous crimes against some SSC or some, sorry, not SSC, against some victim here, then उसमें उसका नाम भी चेंज कर दिया जाता है, because it should not go into the public. Mr. X and Mrs. X कर दिया जाता है. Sometimes these judgments are not reportable here, because these judgments should not part of the public forum, because it affects the life as a whole of many things here. So it is the issue of the reportable and non-reportable depend upon the forum to forum here. It is mainly about the sensitiveness of the document, sensitiveness of the order, that makes an order non-reportable here. Like maximum cases, however, since the Supreme Court and the High Court is the court of record, so maximum times you will find their judgments are into the public forum here, and they are reportable here. Yes, Sumit sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, एक query और है in the architectural. Just a minute, sir. As per section 1536, penalty proceedings to be initiated under old law only for prior years, where there is a recent amendment proposed in the Income Tax Act 2025 that post 1/4/2027 penalty order shall be part and parcel of the assessment order even for prior years covered as per the old law. Is it contradicting?
No. I will explain, sir. Whatever we have learned till now, that assessment proceeding is separate, penalty proceeding is separate here. How the assessment is taking place. After that, in the assessment order, the AO draws some satisfaction, whether it was a misreporting or underreporting, and after that he makes a satisfaction, and subsequently the notice is issued. उस नोटिस के ऊपर आपको सोकोज नोटिस आते होते हैं 274 का, एंड आपके बाद उसके बाद वो आपका पेनाल्टी प्रोसीडिंग चलता है. The issue was there, why there was a two proceeding here. First of all, try to absorb that part here. Why there was a two proceedings here? The two proceeding was there because the concept of quantum addition and the concept of penalty was on some different pedestal. पेनाल्टी का रीजन कुछ और होता है, क्वांटम एडिशन को कुछ और होता है. Every quantum addition does not go into the penalty addition, and every penalty does not lead to the quantum addition here. Like penalty issue is that it talks about there should be some action, like misreporting में है, जहां पर आपने कुछ रिपोर्ट करना छूट गया और उसके पास आपको सर्टन रीजन मिलेगा. You cannot be universal part that everything which has been made the addition under that part, that will go for the purpose of underreporting or misreporting, because underreporting and misreporting show some negligence part from the SSE, some culpability part of the SSE here. So there was a concept of two different issues here, two different order here. Now, for the purpose of administrative convenience, the department wants to say that I will pass a single order. Yes, you pass a single order. In the single order, I will include the quantum as well as the penalty. The department says, very good here. Now, what will happen here? The department has to do two part here. This means there will no more time for the purpose of penalty. Only the moment you are passing the assessment order, you have to pass the assessment, you have to make the addition in the quantum also, and addition on the issue of the penalty also. So the moment you try to make the addition in the quantum and try to make the addition of quality, this means the AO has to do the whole process of penalty addition during the assessment proceeding itself. If that is being done, so AO has to draw two satisfaction. One was for the addition, one was for the purpose of penalty here. It is a good part that they are doing for the concept of this one, concept of that part here, administrative convenience here. Now, from 1st April 2027, is they says that there will be one singular order for each assessment year, which will include both the assessment and the penalty provision also. So both the things that will be covered, a combined order will be passed post 1st April 27, and this combined order can be passed for the assessment year, which was there prior to the new act also. This means suppose that we have the assessment year 25-26. Right now we are the previous year 25-26. Subsequently, when we go into the new law, it will be tax year 25-26 year. If some 147 proceeding starts after 2 or 3 years here, and due to that part here, some penalty proceedings also takes place, then they can very well pass a combined order, and the combined order will include the quantum adjustment as well as the penalty adjustment also.
प्रकाश सर, एक एग्जाम्पल दिया उन्होंने रिपोर्टेबल एंड नॉन रिपोर्टेबल का. इफ एन आईटीएटी जजमेंट इज नॉट पब्लिश्ड in ITR, Taxman and XYZ, we cannot quote the number of the usual format in the usual, but obviously it will be available in the ITAT portal. Will it be reportable or not reportable?
No. एक बार नो मैं बताऊं, कंसेप्ट ऑफ रिपोर्टेबल का जजमेंट ये नहीं है कि आपका टैक्समैन कौन पब्लिश कर रहा है. Taxman, ITR are the private publisher. Please do not confuse with the taxman and ITR here. Taxman, ITR, Tax Sutra are the private publisher here. They can publish as per their convenience. उनको वो publish करेंगे जिनसे उनको higher TRP मिलती है.
Right, sir.
They will not publish this one. But as far as the tribunal is concerned, he has passed the order. He has uploaded the order. Once he has uploaded the order, it is on the website of the ITAT. Once it is on the website of the ITAT, anyone can download that order from the ITAT saying that this order was passed, and you can quote this ITAT order for the purpose of rescued SND or precedent of this case here. So please, not publishing in the ITR, not publishing in the Taxman, or not publishing any journal does not say that this judgment is reportable or non-reportable.
Right, sir.
That is not the criteria of that part here.
सर, एक लास्ट क्वेरी ले लेते हैं, देन विल
हाँ,
है ना.
हाँ.
जस्ट ए मिनट.
Actually, my thought was that to reply more questions here rather than monologue करने के लिए.
Definitely, sir. It is going a wonderful discussion, and
Yes.
coverage you have done already. These three new clarifications specify, notwithstanding anything judgment, order or decree of the court is now applicable retrospectively. Will the old matters now be taken up again in these matters, and what will happen to Roka bathroom case post this circular?
I was arguing some matter before the Supreme Court here.
Okay.
And in the Supreme Court, Mr. Venkataman has especially told that technical ground should be avoided to take any benefit here. Like technical ground, like if you try to rely upon more Roka bathroom and more into that part here, there will be definitely some amendment will be there here, and that has taken place here. What I'm trying to say that part here, which I also relied here, कभी कभी हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जैसे मैंने देखा एक बार हेक्सावेयर का केस आया, that फाओ जाओ का केस में many SSC अपने मेरिट को छोड़ करके They fight, they just say that my case is covered under the Fao Jao and my case should be linked with the, and I should get the relief here. अगर इस तरह के केसेस होते हैं जहां पर टेक्निकल रीजन से केसेस होते हैं, वी मस्ट अप्रिशिएट हियर. अगर आपको मालूम होगा, आशीष अग्रवाल का जजमेंट, एमआर शाह का जजमेंट, आशीष अग्रवाल में क्या हुआ था? Notices was issued after 1st April 2021 under the old statute, and many cases with the High Court and Supreme Court, High Court से ये बोला गया कि this notice which was issued post 1st April 2021, but it is under the old statute, so these notice should not be valid notice. And after that, many High Court has said that this notice is valid notice, quash that notice. Matter went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court has done? Supreme Court say nothing doing. I cannot make the revenue remediless. If there is due to some genuine mistake or technical error, something has been done, I will use the Article 142 to say that this notice should be considered as a notice issued under 148A(b). And after that time we will be given, and after this one's here. This means Supreme Court has validated all this notice, even though we were arguing on the technical ground, saying that these notices are under the old statute, so this notice should be not a valid notice here. The point which I'm driving to say here, and we all practitioners should know, if we try to argue on the technical point, like Fao Jao, like DIN number, like 144C issue, the court right now looks in a different perspective here. Court does not appreciate, saying that you don't want to argue on the merit here, but you want to argue on the technical point, and you are trying to get the benefit of that technical point here. So court has not appreciated that part. And on this issue here, if you see the Fao Jao issue, they have said that irrespective of any judgment here, they have said that I have clarified that part here. So now the Fao Jao issue is dead. There is no more charm into this part here. Similarly, in the case of Roka bathroom cases here, Roka bathroom, yes, you can very well argue the Roka bathroom case on its own merit here, but not on the merit of the 144C and the limitation issue which is there under 153. But yes, if there is some juice that is there, that can also be argued here. Like DIN number, they have already said that DIN number is a clarificatory part here. Not having a DIN number does not invalidate any document here. The sanctity of the document remains the same. The document not having a DIN number is a curable defect. Once the curable defect has been issued through a separate letter and DIN number has been assigned to that document, that will be considered as a valid document here. So on that part also, they have clarified here. So point that I'm trying to say, every one of us try to argue on the merit here. Yes, during the merit here, if you have some technical ground, you can take the technical ground, but solely depending upon the technical ground will choke the tribunal, and ultimately it goes to the court here, and the court says that yes, how to when there is a bulk of the matter that goes to the court on this issue, then the revenue will do this type of clarification, because revenue will not say that okay, I should forego my tax due to this type of clerical mistake here.
Right. Sir, there is no other query, so time is also going to be an end. You can give your closing remark.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As I have discussed the concept of the new Income Tax Act 2025, we must appreciate, whenever we read any statute here, we must appreciate and ask the question with himself here, that why this new act has come, with the first and major issue that comes here. Whether the Income Tax Act 1961 was not sufficient to address the issue which is coming in 2026, why this amendment was done here. or this amendment or this new act is only a political Vedanta or only a political part here. Nothing has been changed here. But when you read the statute thoroughly, you will find that in the fine prints, there are many changes here. And irrespective of the government who says that clarity, like they want to remove the proviso clause, they want to remove the explanation clause. But please appreciate, in the structure of the statute, proviso has its own place, explanation has its own place, and subsection has its own place here. The proviso should not be replaced by the new subsection. The clause should not be replaced. The explanation should not be replaced by this new subsection here. When you try to disrupt all this structure of the law, the meaning will change here. And I can very well say, meaning of the many statutes have changed here. Like if you go to the immunity clause under section 270AA, earlier the lot of arguments was there that in the case of misreporting, the immunity is not there. We were arguing that part here that no, 270AA does not bars the immunity, even if in the case of misreporting, it's allow underreporting as well as the misreporting. Now you can say that under the new act here, we say that there's a special line, we say that the benefit of the immunity will not be there through the misreporting here. However, it has also been clarified through this budget here. So these are the one major changes that is coming into the section 6 also. We all know section 6 is the mother section, we can say, for the purpose of determination of the residential status of an individual, of any company, or other than individual or that part here. While reading the section 4 earlier, we used to understand section 6, we used to understand the concept of 182 days, the concept of 365 days, and the concept of outgoing citizen and concept of the incoming citizen also. When this proviso clause has been removed, if you read the section 6 right now independently, you find that there's a lot of lapses are there. As a charter accountant, as a consultant, we can use the lapses for the benefit of us here. Similarly, other provisions also where there has been changes here. One major changes that was there was said that notwithstanding has been removed. The word notwithstanding has been removed, and it was the new word coming is the irrespective of. Then the issue arises here, what is the difference between notwithstanding and irrespective of? Whether both are same or both are not the same? Answer will be there, both are not the same. When we say that notwithstanding that, this means when you have saying the notwithstanding them, this means you are trying to override some provision. It has an overriding effect here. But when we say that irrespective of, it does not override the other provisions here. So the act is getting seismic change here due to the amendment that is taking place here. So my suggestion will be there. All of us must read the statute in a right perspective here. And if they have to simplify the law, whether by changing the notwithstanding to a irrespective of, will simplify it or will complicate it here. So whether, as I said in the starting itself here, whether the object of simplification, they said that even a layman can read the tax law. If the law was used to be so easy, so why department has made the law complex here? So my point is that, like I always say here, last year 3 Act was amended here, 3 Act was repealed here. आपको सभी को मालूम होगा. Indian Penal Code was replaced, Indian Evidence Act was replaced, and Indian CRPC was replaced. Code of CRPC was replaced, and the newest statute come here. Whether the new statute are really the same thing or something different here, or there's something which is coming here. और ये भी यहाँ भी वही होने वाला है. आपने एक्ट तो चेंज कर दिया है, न्यू एक्ट तो आ गया है, न्यू एक्ट की वर्डिंग कुछ चेंज हो गई है, और वेदर दिस वर्डिंग का चेंज होने से के इन्होंने तो क्लिफाई तो ये तो कर दिया कि मेरा नोटिफिकेशन जो है उस एक्ट में जो इशू हुआ था वो मैं वैलिड रहेगा. व्हाट अबाउट द जजमेंट? जो जजमेंट वो उस एक्ट में जो पास हुआ था, क्या वो जजमेंट आज के डेट में वैलिड रहेगा कि नहीं रहेगा? अगर वो जजमेंट अगर वैलिड नहीं होगा तो आज के डेट में उसके बदले कैसे हम रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं जजमेंट को? हाउ टू रीड द जजमेंट, हाउ टू अंडरस्टैंड द जजमेंट, एंड इफ जजमेंट इज नो मोर वैलिड, what is going to be issues here? These are the biggest issues that will come here in the coming days here. So my understanding is that it is a dream that litigation will come down. I do not think that litigation will come down. Litigation will go on and on here. अगर litigation कम हो गया तो हमारे जैसे प्रोफेशनल का क्या होगा?
क्या
हम
होगा?
तो अपनी दुकानदारी को हमें बंद करना पड़ेगा. तो प्लीज, और खास करके मैं ऐसा प्रोफेशन जो चार्ट अकाउंटेंसी के प्रोफेशन छोड़ करके मैं अपनी एडवोकेसी के प्रोफेशन करता हूँ, ईडी का मैटर करता हूँ, पीएमएलए का मैटर करता हूँ, सारे प्रोफेशन करता हूँ, सारे लिटिगेशन करता हूँ. तो प्लीज, गवर्नमेंट हैज क्वाइट कंसिडरेबल. वो बिल्कुल जो है हर वक्त हमें नया नया चीज देते जाती है सो दैट लिटिगेशन चलता रहे. With this, I just close my remarks here. I understand that I have tried to cover 536, which was the mandate given by सुमित सर. उन्होंने बोला था प्रकाश जी 536 को पूरी तरह से डिटेल में लेना है. मैंने पूरी तरह से स्लाइड के थ्रू 536 को कवर करने की कोशिश की है.
सर
I try to make.
वंडरफुल सेशन प्रकाश सर, वंडरफुल सेशन, सुपर डेलिब्रेशन बाई प्रकाश सिन्हा जी. कई रिमार्क फीडबैक आ चुके हैं सर, और बहुत अच्छा कवरेज किया. क्योंकि सर किसी भी जब हम एक्ट को फ्रेश तरीके से पढ़ रहे हैं तो हमें जरूरी है कि पहले दिन हम ऐसी चीज समझें जो हमारे लिए बेस बनने वाली है. आने वाले दिनों में जो हम 8 डेज बाकी हैं इनमें अलग अलग टॉपिक को डिस्कस करेंगे. बट आज का सेशन कहीं ना कहीं बेस बनेगा जो आने वाले दिन में हम कहीं ना कहीं उन चीजों को आगे समझ पाएंगे. आशा ही आर देयर. और बहुत सारे कल का सेशन भी मैंने अभी पोस्ट डाल दिया था.
जी समझ जी.
यस. कल का सेशन टैक्स ईयर, चार्जिंग प्रोविजन, स्कोप ऑफ इनकम, रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस, इनकम डीम्ड टू बी रिसीव्ड इन इंडिया और डिविडेंड इनकम टू बी टेकन केयर बाय सीए सचिन सिन्हा जी. और बहुत अच्छा रहने वाला है, लाइव सेशंस हैं. सो मैं एक बार आप जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट हैं इनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि कल का भी एज यूजुअल ज्वाइन करें. अगले 9 दिन ये टैक्स का नवरात्रा जरूर ज्वाइन करें. तो आशा ही फॉर फाइनली वोट ऑफ थैंक्स.
ये मेरे को नया नंबर है ये भी अच्छा लगा इसमें क्या है थोड़े से लोग
थैंक यू सुमित जी for
यस.
this opportunity to thanks प्रकाश सर.
यस.
सर बहुत ही अच्छा सेशन एंड जितने डिटेल से आप वो लाइन बाय लाइन एक्सप्लेन करते हैं दैट इज द स्पेशल क्वालिटी ऑफ यू. तो थैंक यू सो मच. और सुमित जी मैं कहूंगी अगर आगाज इतना अच्छा है हमारी इसके सेशंस का तो डेफिनेटली अंजाम भी अच्छा होगा.
अच्छा ही होगा. राइट.
एंड यस एंड वी होप कि हमारे सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स और भी ज्यादा नंबर्स में अटेंड करेंगे लाइव सेशंस. फ्रेंड्स प्लीज रिमेम्बर लाइव सेशंस है, रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं है इसकी कोई भी अवेलेबल आप लोगों को किसी के लिए भी. तो प्लीज डू जॉइन अस टुमारो ऑल्सो. कल सेकेंड डे है सचिन सर का. ऑलरेडी सुमित जी ने टॉपिक अपडेट कर दिया है सबको. तो वी होप टू सी यू अगेन. Thank you so much again, Prakash sir and CASA and its founder Sumit ji for bringing this very important sessions learning series at a very appropriate time. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू आशा जी. थैंक यू प्रकाश
थैंक यू
सर.
सर, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और सभी पार्टिसिपेंट का धन्यवाद. मैं देख रहा हूँ सभी सीनियर हैं, वासने सब हैं, अजय सर हैं, अपना जो है गोयल साहब हैं, सभी कहते हैं प्रवीण जी हैं, सब हैं, और उनका आशीर्वाद हमें मिलता रहे. और इट इज़ अ वेरी गुड लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मी. आपने जो टास्क दिया था इसके कारण मैंने 536 को कम से कम 4 बार पढ़ा, और उसको पढ़ने के बाद आई ट्राई टू प्रिपेयर द स्लाइड हेयर. और मैंने ये सोचा कि नहीं, एक बार स्लाइड बना लेता हूँ. और रियली इट हैज हेल्प मी एंड आई रियली सभी ने, इनफैक्ट दिस इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर मी टू लर्न द लॉ हेयर फ्रॉम
तो
ऑल
यही
ऑफ यू
पॉइंट
हेयर।
मैं कहना वाला था कि आपके साथ हम लोगों के लिए भी अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि हम आपके साथ पढ़ पा रहे, समझ पा रहे हैं। अदरवाइज इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू लर्न अलोन इन दिस एरा, कि हम अपने आप अकेले पढ़ें उस चीज को समझें। बट आज आपने जितनी थोरली समझाया, या बाकी दिन में जो फैकल्टीज बताएंगे, तो कहीं ना कहीं ये ऑप्शन सबके पास है कि हम उस चीज को समझ पाएं, और जो इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए आने 1 अप्रैल से स्टार्ट भी हो रहा है, एप्लीकेबल हो रहा है। फ्रेंड्स, अगर कोई भी किसी तरह की सजेशन हो, गाइडेंस हो, या कोई कंसर्न हो, जरूर मुझे व्हाट्सएप कीजिएगा। मेरा नंबर आप सभी के पास है। मैंने डेली अपडेट्स के लिए ग्रुप डाल दिया है, और कुछ लोगों ने कहा था स्पेशल ग्रुप भी इसका है, तो नो, हमारे बहुत सारे ग्रुप्स हैं कासा के। तो एक सिंगल ग्रुप फॉर्म करना इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट, क्योंकि पार्टिसिपेंट फ्रॉम ऑल ओवर द नेशन, हमारे जो नॉर्थ और अदर पार्ट ऑफ द कंट्री के पार्टिसिपेंट है, उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया है। कासा के 200+ लाइफ मेंबर्स हैं, उनमें से काफ़ी लोगों ने ज्वाइन किया आज, और आने वाले दिनों में भी एंजॉय करेंगे इस सीरीज को। और कहीं भी कोई सजेशन हो तो जरूर दीजिएगा। विद दिस नोट, आई रियली थैंक्सफुल टू ईच वन ऑफ यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग, एंड स्पेशल थैंक्स टू प्रकाश सिन्हा, एल्डर ब्रदर भाई। थैंक यू आशा जी, थैंक यू,
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू सो मच।